Welcome back to Epic Exchanges, and we are continuing on with our series with children's book authors. And you might recognize my guest's face because she was with us before, probably a year and a half or 2 years ago now.
At least, yeah.
So V was with us in a couple of years ago, let's say, with her book "Who Am I?" And it was super well received. And since then, and already a year ago, V has released a new book called "Find Your Fabulous." Not as new when it's over a year old, but still new to us. And so I wanted to have V back to share her book. V, welcome back. So good to
Thank
see
you.
you.
Well,
Why don't
thank you
you
for having me again.
Oh,
Been
I'm
lovely.
excited by this. Why don't you introduce yourself again to our audience?
So I'm Vie Portland. I help people find their fabulous, which is why the book's called that. But I do it with children and adults as well. And I'm, as if you probably tell from the accent, I'm in the United Kingdom. I live on the South Coast. So yeah, that's me.
Great. Well, as we said, your newest book is called "Find Your Fabulous," and something I want to ask my guests for this series is why have you chosen the genre of children's book to kind of get your themes across to spread this message?
I I love children's books. Um, the analogy I tend to give is if I wanted to learn to play chess, I could buy a book for adults, and that book would be full of flouncy, flowery language that would make it sound overly complicated. Or I could buy a book for children that would explain it in simple to understand words that made it much easier to learn. And I think that's the same for all children's books. So I think because children's books are generally done in an easy to understand way, they can sort of slot our brain into little places to remind us of these things. You know, if it, like this one's a confidence boosting book, and I know adults that have bought it for themselves because this children's book is far simpler for them to implement the ideas into their lives than to buy a big self-help book that feels like a mountain to climb because there's all of these floral flouncy words and expectations of understanding. Whereas a children's book is, this is what we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it now. We've done. You've learned stuff. Yay. And that's brilliant, you know, and they can have so many wonderful messages and different levels, and different people take different things from them. And yeah, I love them. I really love children's books. And as I don't have children at home, but I've still got several hundred children's books at home. And I find any excuse to read them, you know, when children visit or when I go to places. Tomorrow I'm running a workshop with children with hearing impairments. So I'll be taking my books and some other books with me. I do a storytelling time for another charity, you know, and I love it. And sharing those stories, and when I do the ones for the charity that are regular ones, the parents come back and go, that was a really good way of helping me understand how best to explain it to them. And so we're quite dismissive of children's books. Some people are, but I think they're just so educational and they're fun, aren't they? They're bright colours and there's silliness, and we all learn more if we're having fun.
Hmm.
So children's books are the best way, I think.
I love that phrase, we all learn more when we're having fun. Isn't that
Yeah,
true? Like if we're out doing something that is learning a new skill, if we're having fun, laughing, enjoying it, we're gonna whether we learn it well or not, I might be a little bit uncoordinated with a new like physical skill or something, but it makes you want to do it again when you've had a good
yeah,
time. And so then
yeah.
you do get better. Is
But then that's a confidence thing, though, isn't it?
there
So that's wonderful that because you're having fun, you're willing to try it again. But if you weren't having fun, no, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. But you've learned that even though it's just, and I don't mean that in a minimized way, but you've learned that it's a good thing to do. So that's boosted your confidence a little bit, and that's important. So
right?
yeah, again,
Good point. Is there, you say you have hundreds of children's books. Is there a children's book from your childhood that you keep going back to, or that you remember in particular that maybe sparked an interest in books and reading and learning?
There'll be a bit of sob story now. Um, my family, my parents weren't readers, and we moved a lot. So every time we moved, my mum would throw everything out. So all I've got from my childhood is a Holly Hobby book,
Mhm.
um, which I probably read when I was 7 or 8. Uh, I remember reading Mr. Men books as a child, but like I said, every time we moved, they got rid of. And it wasn't until I was old enough to go and buy my own books or go to the library on my own that I started enjoying books. But I was a young teen then. But I worked with children during school holidays, and I was also a nanny for years. So it's more the books that I found then that are still brilliant. So I read to this charity group on Tuesday, uh, Giraffes Can't Dance. And that book's 26 years old, but it's still brilliant. Robert Munch's The Paper Bag Princess, that's still a classic book. It's amazing. Um, so it's more from that era that I remember really good books, and going on from there, like the Gruffalo and just the fun books where you feel really engaged. And yeah, again, Robert Munch, he wrote Love You Forever, didn't he, as well? And that's a lovely book too. A little bit creepy if you think about it too much, but on first views, it's a lovely book. And yeah, these books are like 20, 30 years old, and they're still brilliant because the message in them is still very important. And that's brilliant. And
The universal messages, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. Um, it's funny. In another interview with a children's book author, I mentioned The Paper Bag Princess because that's one that I've discovered more as an adult. My sister worked with in early childhood education, so with preschoolers, and she collected a bunch of books, and that was one of them. And I still remember that, even though it wasn't a book from my childhood. But the other thing, a book that even you speaking sparked a memory in me was I can't remember who the author is. It'll come to me eventually, but Where the Wild Things Are. Uh,
Yes.
that fantastical imagination of this boy going to sleep and then having this huge adventure where he's in a costume and there's monsters and everything. Like that still stays with me. I can see the pictures in my mind's eye.
Yeah. I read something beautiful about that. Like you, I can't remember his name. Something Sadat
Oh,
Morris
yes,
something,
yes.
Morris something.
Sendak, I think.
Yes, something
Yeah.
like that. And he sent a little boy, or he was met a little boy and gave him his signature. And then he got a letter from the mum several months later, and she said, "I'm really sorry to say this, but my son loved meeting you so much that he ate your signature because he wanted a bit of you inside him." And I loved it. And with one of my earlier books, a friend of mine bought the book for a grandchild, and they went off to find tigers to have tea with, and he drew himself on the tiger. And she was like, "I'm really sorry, he's defaced the book." And I'm like, I love that he wants to be in the book. And that's how he did it. And isn't that amazing, though, that if a child loves a book so much or an author so much, that they want to be part of it and they'll do whatever they think is
Yes.
necessary to be part of it. I think you can't have a better accolade.
I totally agree. I love that. So let's talk about Find Your Fabulous. The title might give it away, but why is the topic or theme of this book so important to you?
So I had no confidence when I was a child up in most of my adult life. And I've taught myself how to be more confident. And from that, I've started teaching other people, and I run workshops in schools and colleges, workplaces, things like that. And I'm thinking, I really should write a book with the things that I do in these workshops. And so it's not a story as such, there's not one main character. And I wanted it to be a confidence boosting, mindfulness boosting book without going, oh, we're going to work on your confidence and oh, let's do some mindfulness. It's silliness. It's just silliness in there. And like we said earlier, because people enjoy doing it, they're going to do it more. And it was really important to me with my two previous children's books with Emily, and Emily had a visible difference of a prosthetic limb. But I wanted a book because it didn't have a character leading throughout. I wanted every page to be different. And the author, the illustrator rather, she and I share similar passions about inclusion and accessibility and representation. And so we've got so many children on each page, and some of them are disabled and some of them are non-disabled, but there's nothing about that because they're just children having fun. And I want that to be what people see, that we all deserve to be in the same society. There are some real children in the book, um, children that I know in the community with my rare disability, but also other children I know. And I contacted another charity and they got other children involved. So there's quite a few real children in here. And it would be hard for anybody to look through this book and not feel that they're represented somewhere, um, for whatever reason, or to say, oh, that looks like me, and oh, that looks like my friend Jenny, whatever, because there are so many different children in the book. And that was really important to me, that to be able to have a book. I never saw anyone like me in a book when I was growing up. Uh, Books about the disability I have only have come out in the last 10 years. And they were still quite sort of sugarcoating it all. No, that's not even the right word. They were sort of implying things, which is fine. And I'm not doing that at all in this book. This is just these children. This is how I look. This is how I am. Aren't I fabulous just the way I am? And that's what I wanted. And that's what Lottie, the brilliant illustrator, did. And that's why, so, even on the front cover alone, there's several different children who all look very different to each other rather than the sort of homogenized, slim white child that features in a lot of books. So that was it. I wanted representation of all of us.
Right. And how amazing. I was going to use the word fabulous, but
That's
how
fine.
amazing for those children who are in the book that you have in your world and in your extended world to be able to pick up a book that shows them. Like how
Yeah,
special and fabulous, I want to use that word here, does that
yeah,
make them feel?
yeah. With this little girl here, April, um, I've not met April. I talk to her mum sometimes. They live, I know talking to someone who lives in North America, distance is like, it's only 6 hours away. Why don't you pop over? But they live at the top end of the UK. And last week, her mum sent me some photos and she said, when the head teacher saw this book with April in, and April's got a very visible difference, she bought a book for every class and they've used the book as a basis for their curriculum. And last week, they sent me photos of their art exhibition that they'd done. And they created this whole art exhibition of flowers and hearts and things that they saw that they took for granted. But when they stopped and looked, they realized they were beautiful and that we're surrounded by beauty. And this is in a primary school. So this is 4 to 11-year-olds. And they also did all of these beautiful self-portraits and with stunning bits of glitter and everything on them to show that although we are all different, we are all fabulous. And I cried that night. It was just so beautiful that all of the children have become more accepting of her too, because she's now famous. She's in a book, and although I am nowhere near famous, um, most people haven't heard of my books. She is in a book, and so already she's really important, and that's lovely. And another child who I've met recently, who's got the rare condition I have, she was looking through the book with me and I went, she's got EB. Really? What, like me? I went, yeah, like you, like me. And this one has. Really? And I said, how do you feel? And she went, I don't feel lonely anymore. And that's it. Representation matters, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So we should do it as much as we can. That's how I feel anyway.
I love that so much. Like I can imagine how emotionally overwhelmed it can be or well overwhelming it could be to receive those packages with the self-portraits and letters and everything. Because to know that your work is having an impact beyond your reach,
Yeah,
right? Like it's expanding your reach, but it's finding people that don't know you yet. And that's when I go, I always said with my books, I'm waiting till I get a hater because it means that it's not someone who already knows me that supports me no matter what I do and wants me like wants to encourage me. It's someone who doesn't know me at all, who doesn't care what I think, but it means that it's having a further reaching effect.
yeah,
So to know that you're hitting another layer farther away from you, I think is just phenomenal and having such a positive impact.
yeah. I cry a lot. Um, it's wonderful. And I completely agree with you about the hater thing, you know, or I quite oddly, I quite like the idea of finding my book in a charity shop
Mm,
because then that it's moved, then it's moving on to someone else. And I quite like that idea too.
yes.
Um, yeah, just to see it progressing
Yeah.
on. I just think, yeah.
Like someone that might not be able to buy it full price or brand new
Yeah.
or yeah. I love that too. Okay, I think we've probably covered what we hope people take away from your book, but would you share either your whole book, whatever, or pieces so that the audience can get a taste of Find Your Fabulous?
Well, in the book, um, I won't read it because it takes quite a long time to read. But I thought what might be quite fun. um, at the beginning, I talk about feelings a little bit and how sometimes we understand why we're sad or we understand why we're angry, but sometimes it's like, I just am. I don't know. And a big thing in mindfulness is breathing. But if you say to a child, or let's take a deep breath, it'll probably be like, you know, and that sort of non-committal, why on earth am I doing this? So I thought what perhaps we could do instead is do some of the animal breathing that's in the book. And what we're going to do, we're going to start with a snake. Are you ready? You've got to do this with me.
Okay.
So you breathe in, but as you breathe out, you hiss and you've got to slither like a snake at the same time. Are you ready? So
Okay.
breathe in, and then we're going to go.
Oh
So
my God. I can see kids having so much fun with
yeah,
this.
yeah, it's just so good. But the movement as well, it just helps loosen you up. The next one we're going to do is a bee. So you
Do you
ready to
mind
do a bee?
showing some of the
Oh
illustrations?
yes.
Commenting
Sorry,
on.
yes. So this is them
Oh,
doing the
okay.
snake. Yeah.
Love it. Yep.
Um, and I love how Lottie's done the illustrations. So doing a close up, you see the children's trousers are made to look like snake print and
Oh,
things.
fun.
Such attention to detail. Um, and so I'll show you this picture in a minute. Next, we're going to do a bee. So we're going to buzz it, breathe in, buzz out, and then wiggle our bottoms because obviously every child likes to wiggle their bottom. And that's how bees tell other bees that the flower is good for them. So you can do it with me. You're gonna breathe in, buzz out, wiggle bottoms. Ready? So breathe in, and then buzz. So now in this one, the child's dressed as a bee, and then these
Oh.
ones, yeah, they're just so joyful, aren't they? The
Yes.
illustrations, how she does it, and but again, how there's differences with the children, but they're not obvious
Right.
because it's not part of the story.
Well,
Uh,
and I think that children, for the most part, don't notice differences as much as we learn to as adults.
yeah, yeah, and that goes back to your question earlier about why children's books are important. I think the more that children see people with differences as children, the more it's their norm. Whereas I remember growing up, I don't knowingly recall meeting a disabled person until I was 9 or 10, and it was a young man with Down syndrome. And I'd never seen someone like that before, and I was scared. Uh, Adult me is ashamed I was scared, but child me, of course, I didn't know anyone like that because they were shut away more, and they shouldn't be. And we're all part of the same society. So having representation in children's books so that children can say, oh, that person's like that person in that book that I read. It becomes our norm, doesn't it? And that's what's important, I think. Um, Other things in the book are like questions about, there are more animal breathing, but they're quite loud. So I thought that might not come across so well on Zoom. But we talk about things we can thank our bodies for, because we tend to criticize our bodies. We tend to focus on them more when they're not working, rather than accepting them and admiring them and valuing them when they are. So it's like going through and thanking different bits, like, thank you, tummy, for my lovely food, things like that, rather than I've got a fat tummy. It's, isn't it brilliant that my tummy looks after all this food that allows me to do all these wonderful things, so it's the positivity around that. And then there's things about kindness. I'm very big about kindness. So we've got pages where you can show you this page, and it's like, how can you show kindness to people you don't know? And it's like, there's someone taking clothes to a charity shop, there's people picking up litter, there's people doing food shops for others, and it's just things like that I think, again, are just ideas. And even that one, it's quite gross, but I think it's brilliant. um
Oh,
um
picking up the dog.
yeah.
Yep.
And even that, obviously no one likes doing it, but it is an act of kindness, isn't it? For everybody else that's walking that way. And again, it's been normalized in this book. That's what we should all be doing. If we've got a dog, we should be picking up after it. um and in the book, there's 3 songs. I won't sing all of them, but I thought I'd sing, and you'll know this song, I'm sure. I'm fairly sure it's like a fairly universal song. Do you know If You're Happy and You Know It?
Yes.
So in this book, I don't have the ordinary things. So I won't make you sing it, that's cruel. But I've got, if you're happy and you know it, give yourself a hug.
Oh,
If you're happy and you know it, thank your brain, give a big smile, cheese, uh, give yourself a wiggle. And then if you're happy and you know it, shout, I'm fabulous, I'm fabulous. So they're really interactive. All the songs are, but I thought that one you're more likely to know. And yeah, and then it ends, and I love all of the pictures in here, but look at this. Can you see this?
I can. That's you.
It's me.
Woo.
So the illustrator drew me for the book too, which was lovely. But yeah, so it's a very conversational book. There's activities to do together, and I urge people to do them together because that makes it more fun. And when I do readings, I do some affirmations as well at the back of the book. And there's things like, I'm fabulous, I'm a good friend, I'm a good listener, I am strong. And then I always say before I do this one, children, we all know that grown-ups can be a bit silly about this sort of thing. I said, but we need to watch them because they need to know this as well. So you turn to look at them, and when we all do it together, make sure they're doing it too. And they go, and then I'll go, I love myself. And the grown-ups are normally going, mm-hmm. And I said, children, did they do that well enough? No. So we make the grown-ups do it on their own. And it's also giving the children some power as well to know that they can teach. They might only be little, but they can teach other people how to do things too. So it's only little things, but those giving a child permission to go, I am going to watch your mummy or daddy or granny, and I'm going to say, you need to love yourself too. that's brilliant, isn't it? Because that's something that's important. Um, so yes, I love doing that because the adults always squirm. It's great. But yeah, so that took quite a long time. You can imagine how long it takes to read the book. But
So fun. And it makes me think that every library, every classroom, every home should have this book because we need to instill, we as society as a whole, into not just the children, but the adults in their lives. Because it's become a bigger topic. Like and parents have gotten really good at giving their kids confidence. I'm noticing it in the younger generations now that how much more confident they are than I still feel as an adult.
yeah,
And but it's because it started so young. But how much better if the kids can give that back to the adults in their lives as well.
yeah. And that it's again normalized, that it's okay to pay compliments. It's okay to tell someone they're fabulous. But we were talking earlier about the importance of children's books, and I said that I know a few adults that don't have children that have bought the book. At the launch, I had one woman come up to me and she said, I wish I'd had this in my orphanage. And was very fragile with my emotions that day, as you can imagine. So that was one thing that tipped me over. But it's with the adults that have bought it, one of the songs in there is to the tune of Head, Shoulders, Knees, and Toes. And it's I love myself as I am, as I am. And that's a tune that we all know. And it's a really easy song to learn because it's four lines and three of them are the same. And that's what a lot of adults do. So when they're struggling, they'll sort of hum it to themselves and be able to face things. Because again, it's the simplicity that makes it easier to understand, which is why children's books are incredible.
Yeah. Um, I am sure you know of the music artist, rapper, Snoop Dogg. And
Um,
have
yeah,
you heard his affirmation song?
I have. I've got a playlist on Spotify called Feeling Fabulous, and it's on there.
Well,
Um,
I don't know if you would have heard this. So, do you know who Michael Bublé is? I'm again
yes, of
worldwide
course.
artist.
Yeah,
I saw an interview with him where his daughter's kindergarten teacher, like at age 5, was playing Snoop's song every morning for her class, and they all
good.
knew all the words and everything. And when Michael Bublé ended up on The Voice in the US with Snoop, he was telling him the story of his daughter and he played, I believe he played a little clip and stuff, and Snoop couldn't believe that 5-year-olds in Canada, in Vancouver, were listening to this song every day, knew all the words because he'd done it for his grandchildren, I believe.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and the more that I see stories like that, the more I'm like, who would have thought that Snoop Dogg would put something out for his grandchildren that 5-year-olds
yeah,
all over the place are learning from, and it's changing who they are? And how amazing is that? And now they've got your
yeah.
book, and we just need so much more of that. I love it.
Yeah, I love that song. Every now and then I'll put on that playlist when I'm doing something in the kitchen, and that comes on, and I'm like normally I'm dancing when I'm in the kitchen, but I do just sort of stand there and repeat the words, same as he gets the child to do in the book. It in the song, it's brilliant. I think it's such a great thing that he did. And we've got a I'm not sure they've gone worldwide yet, but there's a TV program here for children called Andy and the Odd Socks. And another song I've got on my list is one of theirs. And it's all about being unique because you might feel like a freak and all of these words. And it's again, it's brilliant because we all feel like we're the only one like us in the world, don't we? And yet, if we talked, if we communicated, we'd know that we've all got far more in common than anything that makes us different. And yeah, so there are children's songs on my list. So you said about 5-year-olds in Vancouver. There's, women my age in the UK also singing Snoop Dogg songs that they've never sung before. I can't say I've ever bought any of his stuff before now. Yeah, so brilliant.
That's awesome. Okay, so now we get down to how can people find the book? Where can they find it no matter where they are in the world?
Yeah, well, it's anywhere you can buy books, really. It's I love to be able to say it. You can even buy it in Barnes and Noble, because we don't have Barnes and Nobles here. Uh,
Neither do
you
we
have
in
to order it on.
Canada.
Oh, okay. I used to think they were all over. Yes, you have to order it online from those sorts of bookshops. It's on Amazon as well if that's your preferred choice. But yeah, any bookshop uh, that sells new books, it can be ordered from them, which is
Well, we'll
great.
make
I love
sure to include the links because I think anybody
that.
listening to this is going to want to grab a copy for themselves, whether their
I hope
child
so.
have children in their lives or not. They're gonna pretend maybe that they have children in their lives, but it'll be for them.
We all have our inner child, they're doing it for them, helping them see that life can get better. If they do, I would love to see pictures and videos because honestly, it just makes my day to see people enjoying it. And the art gallery pictures, I'm looking at them every day, from last week. They're just so beautiful that, you know, um, I love it. So if people do, that would be great. Another thing about the book is that there's lots of real life animals in them, including Aurelia, who's just walked past, and she's actually one of our cover stars. So she's come on here as one of the models in the book. Um,
Right.
yeah, yeah. So no, I love seeing how people are interacting with it. To because that's I don't know about you, but when I write a book, it's like my baby, but I want my baby to be shared with everyone and to see how people are reading it and enjoying it. And it just makes all the stress worthwhile, doesn't it? All of the worry about, oh, people like this and the cost of getting it done and making sure, that your editor's happy and your proofreader's happy and your illustrator's good enough. And my illustrator is incredible. She's amazing. But all of those things that can cause so much stress, and you're like, why am I doing this? Uh, to then have someone go, my child saw someone like them in your book is just, it's worth it, isn't it? It's completely worth it.
Totally
Yeah.
is. Yeah. Thank you, V, for coming back, for sharing this newer book.
Me.
Um, I can't wait till you release another one and we can have you back again because I love our conversations. It's been so great to reconnect with you. So thank you very much. We will make sure everybody can connect with you online, find your book, all the links and everything
Please do.
when this comes out. So thank you so much.
And I'd like to know that you're going to carry on doing the animal breathing.
I will work on
I,
it. I'm going to have to get a copy of the book so I can try the other animals too.
do any animal. That's part of the thing. Tomorrow I'll ask the children, what animals do you want to do? It can be any animal.
Awesome. Love that
Enjoy.
idea. Thanks so much.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me again.
Loved it.